Test 1, 2, test. Pineapple. Pineapple. All right, how's it sound?
Perfect.
Perfect pineapple. All right. Ready when you are, sir.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
If the right to do anything I want to do. I'm the President of the United States.
Hello,
Dude,
Andy. What's up?
how are you tonight, man?
I'm doing okay. I'm feeling all right.
Dude, I'm in a good mood. I feel like we haven't had a good news show in a while. Like the news has been depressing recently, and there was there's a couple.
Wait, for how long has it been depressing?
I don't know, roughly since November. I don't know, since November 5th,
Yeah.
roughly.
Wow.
Coming up on a year. But like, dude, there was good news this week. I'm in a good mood. The biggest news, and I was worried for a while that America was heading down like a bad path. I didn't like the direction the country was going. But let me tell you, I think we're saved. Did you hear that Trav and Tay got engaged?
Who's that?
Travis and Taylor?
Oh, the Swifter?
Are you not a Swiftie?
No.
Dude, Trav and Tay got engaged. This is a big. Even my daughter was like,
All right.
"Dad, Trav and Tay got engaged."
Of course,
And
your daughter thought that.
I was excited. I got butterflies. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very excited. Happy for Trav and Tay.
Wait, are you a Taylor Swift fan?
I'm a Swiftie through and through. What's funny is I didn't think I liked Taylor Swift, and then my wife at one point was like, "Oh, you know her music." Then she started playing a couple songs, and I gotta admit they are catchy. I'm not a Swiftie, but her songs are catchy. But then
Okay.
on top of that, great news. The Cowboys traded Micah Parsons away. And I hate the Cowboys, and every Cowboy fan I know right now is just in shambles, and that brings joy to my heart. So, overall, what a great news week we have going.
But not about Trump or America.
No, there's no good
Nothing
news
good.
about it. I don't know if you're aware, but like there's a genocide going on in Gaza, there's troops in the streets. We kind of got a little authoritarian takeover going on. There's not good news. You got to look for good news elsewhere. That's the key, okay? Find the good news where we can find it. If we got to be Taylor Swift fans to find some joy in our life, let's do that.
Okay. Yeah. And you know, I'm not a Cowboys fan anymore either.
Well,
I
I wasn't. Did I text you rubbing it in when it happened?
No.
Because you're not a Cowboy fan, but boy, I was texting a lot of other people. So
I'm
happy to
looking
see.
for a home. I'm looking for a home. Maybe the Broncos. But
They,
I don't like their coach, so
they're saying that the Broncos are actually like a Super Bowl contender this year, which I kind of don't
You think-
believe, but that's what the experts are saying. So I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. It's going to come down to the quarterback, right? Like a lot of rookie quarterbacks come out swinging, and it takes a whole year for the defenses to figure them out. And who knows? Maybe I don't even know his name. He's going to be a great quarterback. Bo Nix, that's right.
So this week I started tuning into football, like football shows on ESPN. People are they got a good defense. They got a good coach. You might not like their coach. I don't like him, but he is a good coach.
Is he?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm telling you, the Broncos are in the conversation right now.
Okay. I'm mad. I can't be a Broncos fan actually because I'm really still mad that what they did to Russell Wilson.
Yeah, and Russell Wilson wasn't playing well, but the way the coach
No, he was. They had just beat
Eh,
Kansas City, and he was on a 5 or 6 game winning streak at that point.
you'll never meet a bigger Russell Wilson fan than me, and I'll admit, like he's kind of washed at this point. He was washed in Denver, but anyhow, there is one good news thing politics wise today. Have you seen the news tonight? There was breaking news at about 5 p.m.
No. What happened?
Okay, I only got like 2 videos for tonight, but first video of the night. This is from Fox News.
Breaking tonight, just moments ago, actually, a federal appeals court ruled most of President Trump's tariffs are illegal. The court is saying the president exceeded his authority in imposing those levies. There's a catch, though, in this ruling. Correspondent David Spunt has details tonight, breaking just minutes ago. Good evening, David.
Brett, good evening. The catch is that the tariffs can stay in place until October 14th. That's when the mandate from the circuit court, the federal circuit court appeals decision actually kicks in. This was a 127-page decision that just came down within the last 30 minutes. We're reading it, but it finds that most of the president's tariffs are unconstitutional. This was published to the public docket, as I said, within the last few minutes. Now, the panel found that the tariffs on nearly every country were not authorized, Brett, by the International Emergency Economic Powers Act and therefore are illegal. The court writing today unanimously, the statute bestows significant authority on the president to undertake a number of actions in response to a declared national emergency. But none of these actions explicitly include the power to impose tariffs, duties, or the like, or the power to tax. Now, arguments were recently held in Washington, D.C. This gives the administration the green light to go directly here to the U.S. Supreme Court, which we expect to happen very soon.
Man, I wanted to pause that a couple times. There was a couple things in there.
Okay, what do you got?
Did he say the good news that they're going to stay in effect until September?
So
whatever?
that's Fox, so they don't want to go against Trump. So yeah, he did say that. Now, what's going on here? The lower court, the first court that ruled on this, ruled that he didn't have the power to do this, but they know it's going to be challenged all the way up to the Supreme Court. So they put like a 5 month like buffer on it, to where gave him time to appeal it. And basically, their thought was, if the tariffs are on, then they're off, then they're on. So they said, well, give this a 5 month window to play. I think it was like 5 months. So the next level of courts, the appeals courts, just agreed with the lower court, and now it can go to the Supreme Court. According to conservatives I've been paying attention to, the Supreme Court is likely to go with that ruling. Most of the Supreme Court justices are like old school Republicans, like I was, and like they don't believe in tariffs. Like they're not fans.
So does this mean that because he didn't go through Congress to do the tariffs, is that kind of the ruling?
Exactly. And really, it's a slam dunk legal case. Like nobody should think Trump's going to win this, because the Constitution is very clear that the power of the purse, the power to tax, tariffs are a tax. Like that is Congress's responsibility. So he's got two ways that Trump could still come out on top here. The Supreme Court could rule in his favor, which it's not unheard of, but I don't think he's going to get that. Or he could turn to Mike Johnson and the Senate and say, hey, you guys need to codify my tariffs now. I don't think that would get passed. There's too many, especially right now with like on the generic ballot, the Democrats are up between 5 and 8 points heading into the midterms. And there's too many Republicans that are in like swing districts that can't vote for a tax increase. Like it'll kill them. So he might be able to get it through the House, but the Senate, absolutely not. Like I don't see that happening. So Trump did respond real quick. Do you want to read Trump's tweet?
Yeah, sure. All right. Donald J. Trump. All tariffs are still in effect. Today, a highly partisan appeals court incorrectly said that our tariffs should be removed, but they know the United States of America will win in the end. If these tariffs ever went away, it would be a total disaster for the country. It would make us financially weak, and we have to be strong. I feel like I'm giving him more credit by reading it that way.
You got to read it. You got to read it in more of a whiny voice. That's how it really is.
The U.S. will no longer tolerate numerous trade deficits and unfair tariffs and non-tariff trade barriers imposed by other countries, friend or foe, that undermine our manufacturers, farmers, and everyone else. If allowed to stand, this decision would literally destroy the United States of America. At the start of this Labor Day weekend, we should all remember that tariffs are the best tool to help our workers and support companies that produce great made-in-America products. For many years, tariffs were, Jesus is long, were allowed to use against us by our uncaring and unwise politicians. Now, with the help of the United States Supreme Court, we will use them to benefit our nation and make America rich, strong, and powerful again. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
I don't think he's going to win. I'm telling you right now. Now, I think he's got a better chance of getting Congress to pass something, and I don't think that he even really has that good a chance with that. Speaking of Trump real quick, remember last time we were talking about, is Trump going to make it through his term and all that? There was something I had sent you. I don't know if we talked about it, where it said like, oh, Trump hasn't played golf in 14 days. And I told you, I was like, that is the biggest tell. But then it turned out that got fact checked, and like that wasn't. Apparently, he had played golf in the last, he'd played golf 2 or 3 times. So that was totally inaccurate, according to whatever the fact check is on Twitter. I can't remember what it's called, the community notes. But here's the new news tonight. Trump has not been seen since Thursday. He was MIA all day Thursday, all day Friday. He has no events scheduled Saturday, Sunday, Monday. The earliest we might possibly see him is on Tuesday. Can you remember the last time we went 5 straight days without seeing Trump on camera live? He loves attention.
Yeah.
Why aren't we seeing
Man,
Trump?
you sent me something today. It was that lady talking about how she's predicting Trump.
Oh, I have no clue who that was. I have.
Some crazy lady. Her prediction, she's always right with her predictions, is what she says.
That's
And
what
she
she
said
said.
Trump is going to die, and she gave like a date and a time.
September 3rd at either 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. She's not sure which one, but September 3rd at 10. I sent you that just so it'd be fun. It would be bad, but it'd also be really weird if like that lady turns out to be. If September 3rd we get the news, we got to find that lady.
We're gonna have to look her up big time.
Honestly, I don't think
Shit.
I'm not sure that Trump is missing right now because of health. Yet somebody pointed out recently he got his eyes done. Like there's a procedure that old people get where they it's like their eyelids or the bags under their eyes. You all right over there?
Yeah. I'm here.
Okay. Well, anyhow,
Yeah.
apparently, if you look at Trump's eyes recently, his eyes look a little different. Like this, not his eyes, but the area around his eyes. And everybody's saying he got some cosmetic surgery done, and it's common. Old people get that. And like that's what I'm honestly thinking is like we're not seeing him for 5 days because he's having something done, hair plugs or
He's gonna come back with like a chiseled jaw and
he
like
might. So I'm curious now because now that's the talk of Twitter is like, oh, Trump's MIA for 5 days. So if he's healthy, I think he'll find a way to be on TV this weekend. Like he's gonna see all that, and also JD. There's all kinds of Twitter rumors that like JD is like in the background consolidating power to get ready to take over when Trump's health falters. And if Trump is seeing those headlines, he's gonna want to make sure everybody knows he's doing all right. So if we truly don't see him till Tuesday, I'll be shocked. I think he's going to make an appearance, but right now we're not scheduled to. And even Tuesday, the events aren't out for Tuesday. Tuesday is just the next day we might see him unless he does something weird. So
okay.
anyhow, we got that.
I want to go back to tariffs real quick.
Do it.
I pulled a video. The video's tariffs. Trump, he said he's doing all these tariffs because he wants to bring manufacturing back to the United States, right?
Yes.
That was one of his reasons, I think.
And most economists say that's not going to happen, but that is what he's saying.
How do you think he's doing so far?
So far nobody's brought their manufacturing back to the US. He has not succeeded at all in that.
Oh, we don't even have to show this video then if you
Oh no, we can let's let the people see it. But yeah.
Okay.
Hold on, here we go.
Main reasons why President Trump says that he likes tariffs is that he wants to shrink trade deficits, but also bring manufacturing back to the United States. So we set out to answer that question. Has that actually happened? How many companies have moved 100% of their manufacturing to the United States since President Trump took office? Well, the answer, pretty clear. 0.
Yeah, no, so I've seen various versions of that reporting. But yeah, so far it's not happened at all. And we said this months ago, but like if a Democrat is possibly going to win in 2028, like these companies can't just switch all their manufacturing to the US overnight. Like it takes a couple years to do. And at this point, a lot of them are in just the mode of like, let's wait Trump out. Like by the time we could get everything up and running and actually making it here, it'll be 2027, maybe into 2028. And then if the next president undoes the tariffs, then it's way more expensive to make your stuff here than it is overseas. Also, we kind of mentioned, but like sneakers, for example, like the sneakers we get from Vietnam, like if those were made here, it'd be like $400 for a pair of sneakers. Like we can't match their labor costs. iPhones would be $3,500. So it's, even though it sucks for us, like if it's a 30% tariff, the item is still cheaper for the consumer in America. If it's made overseas and then shipped in with a 30% tariff, it's still cheaper than it would be if we made it here. So
yeah.
He'd have to do like 100% tariff on everything to make it economical for people to make it here.
Well, I was talking to somebody the other day about how their manufacturing is done, and like, I can't remember exactly what they were manufacturing, but it was something in the outdoor industry, and basically, it might have been like battery backups or something. Anyway, basically, they order stuff from China, and it comes here, and then they kind of put it together, and then they ship it off somewhere else, and then they do something else to it, and then it gets shipped over here to do something else, and then it gets shipped back to the United States and then sold. So it's like, and it's cheaper for them to do that than to do all here.
And that's how, like with auto manufacturing, like a car that's made in America, like there's parts that go to Canada, then to Mexico, and back to us, then to and they cross the border like 6 times before the car is finished, and they have to pay a tariff every time it crosses the border. So it's just it's a bad setup.
We're so dumb. Yeah, we're so dumb about all this.
Even like Tesla is like the only car made in America, but they should say it's the only car assembled in America because like all the parts are from overseas, the batteries from China, but it's all shipped here and then somebody puts it all together here. Which that was the way that Trump did and the China tariffs are he did another extension, so we have like another 2.5 months till that has to be figured out. But chips are, I think, like a ridiculous tariff, right? Like chips for computers, but computers themselves, like laptops, aren't because he didn't want to hurt Pete. That would have showed up real quick in Best Buy and all that. So it's cheaper to buy a computer with that chip in it than to buy the chip alone. So it's just one of those where for the same price you could buy a chip from China, you could buy a laptop, and then you just take the chip out and you're good to go.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
A lot of holes in this theory here.
How do you feel about doing a podcast with a terrorist?
No, I won't do it. Let me back up. Probably not. My gut reaction is no.
I mean, you're already doing it. Check out this video.
Democrat Party does not fight for, care about, or represent American citizens. It is an entity devoted exclusively to the defense of hardened criminals, gangbangers, and illegal alien killers and terrorists. The Democrat Party is not a political party. It is a domestic extremist organization.
Damn it, you're a terrorist. I'm glad that I'm still registered as an independent because I don't want to be labeled a terrorist.
I'm actually registered as an independent. But,
you are? So you're not a terrorist. You vote now. I was thinking about this the other day. I got a buddy here who's trying hard to convince me to switch my registration to being a Democrat. Yeah. And I thought about it. It's like, with all the stuff the Trump administration is doing right now, like if you're registered as a Democrat, in my mind, it's not unfathomable that in a couple of years, like, it turns out like 90% of the people getting audited by the IRS are registered Democrats. Just certain ways that he's gonna, and it's like, no, I'm gonna stay independent as long as I can, man. Like I'm not putting the crosshairs on me.
You know what I like? So here in Colorado, registered as an independent, they give us both the Democrat and the Republican ballots, like
for the primaries,
primary ballots. And I get to pick one.
Yeah.
And so I can actually go through and vote Republican, but vote for the guy who's like the underdog or whatever, and kind of get people out of that,
Well, that's called an open primary, and like I'm not sure what states have what, but like in a lot of states, even if you are registered a Democrat, you can go in and vote for a Republican, and you could vote, across the aisle both ways on different races. That's called, but you can only vote once. So if you vote for, say, Trump as the Republican nominee for president, you can't also vote for a Democrat. It's one side or the other. But yeah, it's called open. And some states don't have open primaries. Like if you want to vote in the primary, you have to be registered to that party or else you're not voting.
Yeah. Well, and I think you called this terrorist thing, right? Didn't you call this last time? We were talking about the street gangs were considered terrorists, and you said something about the Democrats. They're going to call the Democrats terrorists, and then they're going to have a way to go after them.
He did it the very next night. That's the video we just watched. And if Stephen Miller says it, that means it's true. I just want to make that clear for everybody. Stephen Miller is pretty much the voice of our government at this point. What's funny is during the W. Bush era, like everybody said Dick Cheney was pulling the strings, and like Dick Cheney was kind of an evil guy in the shadows.
Oh, yeah.
Like Stephen Miller's pulling the strings right now. Like I strongly feel that way.
I agree.
Hey, real quick, this is just a side note, but I don't have any videos or pictures of this, but did you see this story that her name is Taylor Lorenz, and I don't know anything about her, but she's apparently a lightning rod. Like she's a lefty, but she pisses off everybody equally. She's famous for certain stories. I don't know who she is, but she broke a story the other day. And like I said, she's a Democrat, but she broke a story about, oh God, there's this dark money Democrat group that is paying left-leaning podcasters. Like, the argument she was making is that the DNC is basically controlling this, and like, David Pakman's on the list. Brian Tyler Cohen is on the list, and they're getting $8,000 a month. And then what's up so that's for sure. They're getting $8,000 a month. David Pakman had said like a year or two ago, but he was saying, hey, the left needs to get some kind of an operation where they help jumpstart these left-leaning YouTube podcasts because the right has that. The right's been doing that for years.
For sure.
The left needs something like that. That's pretty much like maybe because they saw him say that they decided to do this. But yeah, they get $8,000 a month and they get help. Like there's workshops of like how to create a good thumbnail, how to create a good headline, blah blah blah.
How do we
Now,
get this?
so
We need help.
I want in on this bad. But what's up in the air is the original story by Taylor Lorenz said that like there's catches with it. Like you're not allowed to say certain things. You can't talk bad about the Democratic Party. Can't say anything bad about Israel. Now everybody that has been identified has all come out and said no, no, no. Like there's no. They don't tell us what we can and cannot say. But I gotta say, the two that I know for sure on the list are Packman and Brian Tyler Cohen, I think is his name. I've seen both of them occasionally. I want to go back. I don't know that I've ever seen Packman say anything bad about Israel.
He's a Jew.
Is he Jewish?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Okay, so Brian Tyler Cohen.
Brian Tyler Cohen he doesn't really talk. He talks law. He's more of a law guy. He doesn't really talk. Yeah, he doesn't. All of his everything I've seen is him talking about the law. Like he has, he's a former actor. Like he went to LA to become an actor and it didn't really work out for him. So then he just became like a liberal YouTube guy. So did, what's his name?
The guy from Majority Report. What's his name?
All of them.
Yeah. The guy from Majority Report. Sam Cedar. Sam Cedar was in a couple movies.
He's a comedian. Sam Cedar was a comedian.
He was an actor before that. You could see there's movies he was in, like in the late 80s.
Well, he got the movies because he was a comedian.
All I want to know, and I can't remember the name of that, there's like the money's coming from something called like the 1630 Project, and then there's another company like underneath them that is handling all this. And apparently they teach people how to jumpstart a podcast. And when you first start a podcast, you're not going to make any money forever. So the $8,000 a month is basically so they can live off of that while they try to pump out content. I don't have a problem with the idea of that. Now, if they are controlling what content can be said, like I got a big problem with that.
For sure.
But I'm also wondering how can we get some of that money? Like I will happily switch to not saying anything bad about Israel if I can have $8,000 a month.
I won't.
Where is APAC? I want that APAC money. I don't really, but
yes,
give me some of that APAC money. I just want to sell out. I just want to get.
You want to sell out. You're looking to sell out.
I want to get big enough to where we can sell out. That's all I'm
gonna have to find a new podcast partner.
Yep, I'll be rolling in the money while you're.
And he's gonna have a big gold chain on.
Yep. Ooh, by the way, I do have one confirmed co-host for while you're off grid for 2 weeks in September. Friend of ours is in the energy industry down in Austin, Texas.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about the solar credits and EV credits and all that stuff. So look forward to that, everybody. That'll be in mid-September.
That'll be good. I can actually listen to one of our podcasts.
Yeah, if it's better with this person than you, I'm sorry, buddy, but you're replaceable. Yeah. So anyhow, sorry, I do want some of that money that the Democrats are getting. So very excited about
let's
that.
send out the bat signal.
Nice. I have two remaining big things I want to talk about. They're both depressing. So before we got that, do you have anything that's happy on your side? Or just not totally depressing?
I do, but I was going to save it to the very end. I feel like we should end on a happy note every time.
Okay. Well, then let me get into one depressing one, and after that, if you want to jump in with
you know what?
What you got?
Let's do this. This might make you laugh, actually.
Okay.
Let's see.
Zohran Mamdani, who is running for mayor of New York, maybe you've heard of him, his policies are much closer, as a Muslim, his policies he's fighting for families, for mothers with children, for food, for transportation, for expanded housing, much closer to the actual teachings of Jesus Christ than the Christians who can't stop smearing Zohran Mamdani for being a Muslim socialist. His policies are closer to the gospel. Christ never talked about abortion, never condemned gay people, never condemned immigrants, would not shut up about poverty. It was like his Layla at all of Jesus' speeches. He's actually doing what Christ called for as a Muslim, and it's infuriating right-wing Christians.
Okay.
Okay, I have several thoughts on that. He wasn't wrong, but that guy, if you put Jim Carrey in a movie and told him to play, like that guy looks like he's Jim Carrey in costume, like doing a political commentator. Yeah, that something seemed off about his physical appearance that I wasn't sure about. But also, we've said it before, if Jesus showed up tomorrow, the right would call him a liberal and like kick him to the curb.
A terrorist, a liberal terrorist, and
he's talking about giving the poor people all our money. Like that, it wouldn't go over well. So yeah, no, everything was everything was pretty spot on there. I couldn't really focus on what he was saying because I kept picturing Jim Carrey in that role. So that's what it was. All right. One depressing thing that I want to talk about real quick. There was another, I'm going to call it a school shooting this week. It was kind of a church/school shooting.
Yeah.
I don't know if it hits me more because I got a kid in school, but like these bother me. Like I was in a bit of a funk all that day just because when you got a kid in school, you can't help but think, what if it happens to me? The thing that started to irritate me the next day, though, every time one of these happens and somebody says something like, "We got to do something about all the guns,"
Thoughts and prayers. They were in church. They were praying.
well, that's a whole separate issue. But when there's a shooting, somebody says we need to do something about the guns, and the right instantly says, "You can't politicize this. It's too soon." They're always trying to politicize, and that's their talking point.
Totally.
But whenever they get the opportunity to, they politicize the hell. It's like they're allowed to do it, but the left isn't. And
well, how many times has the right come out and said, "Oh, it was a left-leaning, like far left radical," and then it turns out it was a Trump voter? Like it's almost every time.
That's the thing is if it's someone on the left who does it, they have the green light to politicize the heck out of it. If it's someone on the right, they say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! How insensitive! You can't bring politics into a moment like this." And this is a perfect case study here. Now, I don't understand any, like I've said this before, but whenever one of these happens, we like to be able to put the shooter into a box. We want them to fit neatly into like far left or far right, and they never do. They always have really weird ideologies. This person, so it's up in the air. I'm going to say they're possibly trans, and I've seen different stuff, and I don't know what I believe online anymore. They apparently tried to change to a woman a couple of years ago. Their name was I don't want to say their name because I don't want to give them the glory they want. But they changed to like a feminine version of their name. Now I've seen people that supposedly knew this kid, went to high school with this kid, that said no, he's far right, and he was basically doing it, mocking people that changed their. I don't know if he was or not. I really don't. Okay. But the right is having a field day where we're like, oh, look, another trans shooter, because there have been a couple trans shooters in the past couple of years. So they
have there?
Yeah, the one that shot up a school, I think it was a religious school in Tennessee about a year ago.
Oh, because he was harassed at that school.
Yeah.
Right?
And now this kid went to this Catholic school, and his mom worked there, and so there might be some of that going on. But man, they as soon as they found out it was possibly a trans person, like, oh boy, they're all over that. They're like, we have a trans problem. Trans are killing everybody. And it's like, and if you look at all the shootings that have happened in the last year, trans are responsible for like 0.013% of it, but they're jumping all over that. Also, this person had, I watched about a 10-minute video of, it was them doing a video showing all their stuff, and on the guns and the magazines and all that, they had kill Trump, they had anti-black people stuff, anti-Mexican people stuff, they had anti-gay stuff, which doesn't go along at all with the fact that they were supposedly trans. The F word, speaking of gays, was on the gun several times. They also said there's a guy on YouTube that I actually follow named Brandon Herrera. His YouTube name is like the AK guy, and he does like gun type videos. And I follow him from a couple of years ago when I was watching that stuff. And they said like, oh yeah, we've met him in person, like him for president. He is running for Congress in Minnesota, and he is a hard far right guy. So it was weird because they had like some very.
The shooter was running for
Brandon Herrera, the guy that that he mentioned in his video, and in his video he even said Brandon Herrera for president. Brandon Herrera, to his credit, came out almost immediately and did a video and said like, I don't think, because he claimed he met him at the SHOT Show, and he was a SHOT Show is like a gun convention, and he said basically like, I don't remember meeting this guy. I might have. I shake hands with a lot of people, but like I don't approve of anything he did. So he props him on that. But the kid had some weird like far right ideology, but then also like might have been trans, which is, I would say, a left, like I guess that's a left leaning thing. But that's all. If you follow any right wing Twitter, that's all they're talking about is like, oh, another trans shooter, and it's like this guy had a lot of beliefs, but okay, whatever we're doing here. The other thing that's killing me is the right was quick to come out and say it's not the guns. This is a mental health issue. Now the left is screaming.
It's both. Why is it? Why do we?
It's a combination. I have many guns and I like my guns, but also I'm in favor of trying to make sure that crazy people don't have guns. Like if I, as a good person, I'm going to call myself a good person here, if I have to jump through a couple extra hoops to get my gun in order to make sure that crazy people aren't getting guns, like I'm willing to do that. I'll fill out a couple extra forms, I'll wait a little bit longer, whatever it is.
The problem is you won't think that you need more guns. So the
Yeah,
gun sales will drop because people are afraid of the crazy people that have guns, so they buy more guns.
that is
It's
true.
just
Like
gonna kill the whole,
you need it,
system.
dude. That's the weird. Every time there's an incident like this, and I was talking to my wife about this the other day, my first gut reaction is, "Oh my God, we've got to do something about the guns. There's too many guns." But then 10 minutes later, I'm thinking, you know what? I need to be carrying a gun everywhere I go, and I need to get my wife proficient with a gun, and I need to get her to carry. She's with my daughter out in public, like she needs it. So it's weird because, like, at the same time, I want less guns on the streets, but I think that I should now start carrying a gun, and so should my wife. Like, it's not healthy.
Well, what did Australia do?
They had an incident in like the 90s where it was a mass shooting, and their government just basically said, "All right, enough," and they did a gun buyback, and the citizens complied. People in Australia are very different than people in America. We would not, if our government said we're taking back all the guns, we would not go for that. People in Australia went for that. And you are allowed to have a gun in Australia, but it's like if you live outside of the city on a farm or whatever, there's circumstances where you can have a gun. Most people
Okay.
cannot.
So in 1996, they had 2.9 gun deaths per 100,000 people. Now they have 0.9 gun deaths per 100,000 people.
Yeah.
So
There
it
was
decreased
one event.
significantly.
There was one like major shooting, like mass shooting that happened that kind of spurned all this.
Yeah, it was in 96.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
That was when they did it. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So, and the Republicans, their favorite thing is to say, it's not the guns, it's a mental health issue. Well, okay, let's say it's a mental health. It is. It's crazy people getting guns. So how do we identify crazy people and make it to where they can't get guns?
Red flags.
Well, red flag laws are a great thing, but also and the left is screaming this, but like, oh, well, the Trump administration just cut $1 trillion from mental health. And kind of true. They cut $1 trillion from Medicaid. Medicaid is the nation's primary funder of mental health services.
Oh,
but all $1 trillion of that isn't going to mental health. Now, they did cut $1 billion from school mental health programs across the nation. So like, okay, if it's the mental health, let's address that. If you're not willing to do anything about the guns, let's attack the mental health side of things. But we're stripping all that money out of the budget too.
Of course.
It's upset. Also, where is the FBI in all this? Now, this shooter, and I've been watching all this all week, but the shooter was posting online for the last month that he was going to shoot up a school, a church, that he was going to kill kids. He wasn't hiding it. He wasn't doing it on dark web. He was putting it all over every website that he was going to do this. I'd like to think the FBI is paying attention to that. Like, I always think that there's key words. Like if you say if you say shoot a school online, that's going to get flagged somewhere, somehow.
This is Kash Patel's fault.
I get mad at the left sometimes because it's like, hey, here's a great attack angle. Go for it. So Trump put in, do you remember a couple months ago, I'm gonna show his picture here, but Thomas Fugate, the kid that was like a 22-year-old former grocery store clerk that is now what is he? He's the head of domestic terrorism and threat prevention at HHS.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
22 years old, no experience. He's in charge. He also, when he got in, he then fired 75% of the staff working on domestic terrorism and threat prevention. Then you have Kash Patel at the FBI, who, if you remember, just a few weeks ago, we learned that he was pulling FBI agents off domestic terrorism cases to help assist with rounding up migrants. So, okay,
This is a nightmare. This is a complete nightmare.
I'm so mad at the left right now because they should be pointing the finger right at the FBI and at HHS and the Trump administration. This kid was saying he was going to do it online for a month, and we just didn't notice because we're not looking, because we're too worried about rounding up immigrants that are working jobs
and hiding the Epstein files.
Oh, let's not forget that we had however many agents going through and looking for Donald Trump's name in the Epstein files and blacking it out. Like, what are we doing, FBI? I mean,
yeah. How many agents do they have doing that? What did he say?
It was like 1,000 or something. It was something ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. It was like 1,000 people going through the Epstein files
and redacting Trump's name out of it
instead of like trying to stop this from happening.
Yeah,
this could have been easily stopped if it was on his Facebook page. That's crazy.
There are there are plenty of shootings where you look and you're like, there were no warning signs. The guy just snapped. This kid was posting online for the last month that he wanted to do this.
And there's going to be no retribution for this at all. And they're going
No.
to keep doing what they're doing because I don't know why, but they're
I
idiots.
blame the Democrats. I'm more mad at the Democrats right now, elected Democrats, because every one of them should be on TV saying, "Where was the FBI? How did they not catch this? Why do we have a 22-year-old working as the head of threat prevention and domestic terrorism at HHS? Like, what are we doing?" Kash Patel put out a video the other day where he's doing pull-ups because RFK has all the secretaries doing these pull-up challenges. Like, stop going on Fox News, stop doing pull-ups for the camera, stop worrying about, let ICE deal with the illegal immigrants if we're going to do that. Don't pull FBI agents. I'm hot. Anyhow,
Yeah.
so
Well, that's what you get when you hire somebody to be president that's from a reality TV star.
And
It's just bullshit.
did you
Get
see
to
what
work.
did you see what the National Guard has been doing all week in DC, by the way?
No.
He's got them doing yard work. They're wearing their fatigues. They're wearing camo. They're spreading mulch. They're weed eating. Like, he's got them cleaning up the parks. Like, what are we doing? And this is so dumb. There are parts of DC where crime was high, where he has all the troops is guarding like the National Mall, where there is no crime problem. And
You know what? I'm not mad at that actually. Cleaning up the parks, doing yard work. Like it can't be. I mean, what else would they be doing other than that?
they don't have anything else to do. That's why they were all
Yeah.
there were too many images coming out of them just standing around doing nothing. So somebody was like, "Hey, give them a weed eater and a wheelbarrow and some mulch." So they're beautifying DC.
If you start sending them city to city to like clean stuff up and like not threatening people, but actually like clean stuff up, give them a nice like maybe a tie-dye uniform or something, and like get them out in the parks cleaning up stuff. Like
The problem with what you're saying, though, is that cost-wise, let's just look at it from hey, we're trying to save money here. What costs more, activating the National Guard and sending them into DC and having them do this, or hiring some lawn crews? Which, oh yeah, I forgot, we're deporting all the lawn crews, so maybe that isn't a possibility. I don't know. Maybe that's his plan: is get rid of all the Mexicans and have the National Guard do everybody's yard work. I don't know. It's
okay, how much does it cost to deploy the National Guard? A recent federal deployment of 2,000 troops to Los Angeles was estimated to cost $134 million.
How much do you think the largest contract bid could possibly be for a landscape company to come in and clean up DC? Not 134 million.
No.
Nowhere close
No.
to that.
No.
And also, he only
Maybe
had
5 million.
he only had like, I think it was either 500 or 800 National Guard troops in LA, and they were there for what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. He's got thousands of National Guard troops in DC, and he's saying they're going to be there going forward. Imagine how much that's costing us. And also, let's just take, I know people in the National Guard. These people got pulled away from their families. It's the first weeks of school. They got called in, activated to the National Guard to go to DC and do yard work instead of being there with their kids for their first weeks of school or whatever. It makes no sense.
Experts suggest that deploying the National Guard to Washington, D.C. costs over $1 million per day.
Good God. Okay, well,
$1
30
million
million a
per
month.
day.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's accounting for this, but there are certain red states that have sent their National Guard in to assist too. There's like 7 or 8 different states. So
Yeah.
we're not all about saving that money. Also, I have nothing pulled on this, but they're shutting down Alligator Alcatraz, and apparently, like, it's going to end up being like a $250 to $300 million stunt that is really not going to get anything out of it. They're just having to shut it down at this point. So
I'm so glad they're shutting it down. I mean,
Just
I'm
money
glad they
wasted.
lost that case and they're shutting it down, but they're going to open up another torture facility somewhere else probably.
they've opened several. Like, there's one in Nebraska they're calling like the Cornhusker Clink. The new one in Florida is somewhere up by like Jacksonville, I guess, and it's a prison that got closed down and has been empty for months or years, I don't know, and they're just reopening that. The whole Alligator Alcatraz thing was simply optics. Like, they didn't need to do that. There are other places they could house these people, but Trump wanted to reopen Alcatraz, and they told him it would cost too much. So then DeSantis showed up and was like, "Hey, I got an idea, Alligator Alcatraz," and we've said it before, but the cruelty is the point. Like, his people love the fact that, like, oh, if they try to escape, they're going to get eaten by alligators. Like, they love that.
Well, Alligator Alcatraz was still costing the taxpayers more money than I live on a day per person, right?
Yeah, by
And they
far.
weren't even feeding them 3 meals a day or whatever.
It's just killing me.
So bad.
Anyhow, that's all I'm gonna say on the shooting.
Oh my gosh.
I really hate that. I wish we could find a way to get in front of that. And the thing the right always says is like there needs to be like better security get into school. Like every time kids get into school, it should be like getting on an airplane. They should have to go through metal detectors and put their bag on a little deal that goes through a conveyor belt and an X-ray machine. And like I don't like that because I don't want my kid to have to go through that every day to go into school. Like I just don't like the thought of that. But at the same time, I'm starting to think we're not going to get rid of the guns, so that's the only option at this point. I don't see any better way.
What is wrong with us? What the fuck is wrong with the United States that we have to deal with this, that we even have to think about this? Like other countries don't have to deal with this. We're the only ones. So
America has
why can't we figure this out? It's not the guns. I mean, the guns are part of the problem, right? The fact that we have access to the guns is part of the problem, but there's something going on in our country that is I want to say wrecking the brains of individuals, so much so that they think that they need to kill other people. And maybe it's our attitude towards people. Maybe we're not nice enough. We don't have enough empathy towards our fellow students or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's super fucked.
So I agree, it's super fucked. I don't know what it is. The thing is, the right will point at like it's the video games, violent video games. Well, they have violent video games in all these other countries. It's social media. Well, they have social media in all these other countries. So there is something unique to America that's causing this. I don't know what it is, but I know that the couple things that get pointed out, it's like they also have that. You said it's not the guns, but it could be the number of guns. I can't remember how there's enough guns in our country for every person to have 3 guns or something like that. It's something ridiculous like that. Like we have way more guns than any. I'm a one person and I've got over 10 guns in my safe. I don't need all that.
Yeah,
something about America.
I bet if we look at the numbers, I bet more people in America are have mental health issues than other countries as well.
So that's we have mental health issues that go untreated, and other countries, especially countries that have like Medicare for all or socialized medicine, whatever you want to call it, like everybody can go see a therapist. You know how many people we have in our country that need help for mental health problems that just can't afford it, and that is the roadblock. They would get it if they could, but they can't afford it.
And cutting Medicaid and Medicare is going to just amplify that by a lot, right?
And detecting it in schools, like that, cutting $1 billion for the mental health programs in the schools across the U.S. Like that's when we should be identifying it and getting the parents involved. And but we're not going to keep wasting money on that dumb shit anymore, though. Don't worry. We got to give tax breaks to the billionaires because that's more important. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Hey, last time we talked about authoritarianism and totalitarianism. Was that right?
Fascism and authoritarian, I think, is what we're talking about.
Well, it went authoritarianism. There was a totalitarianism and then fascism, right? Was that? I think
sounds right.
I think that was the order. I'm sorry, I should have wrote that down. But we didn't have the definition for fascism, so I found the definition for fascism.
Okay, let's hear how close we are. I'm praying it's not close.
What's that?
I said I'm praying we're not that close, but go ahead, let me hear it.
Fascism looks like a far-right political ideology characterized by dictatorial leaders, extreme nationalism, a cult of personality, the suppression of opposition through violence and propaganda, and a desire for national rebirth or purification, often with a fixation on national decline and the scapegoating of minority groups. So like we want to go by that. I feel like we should go. There's a lot of that, right?
That's scary. Yeah, it feels like we're very close to that.
Characterized by dictatorial leaders. Actually, like and subscribe. Leave a comment.
Good timing.
Dictatorial leaders. So, and I have a video at the end for dictatorial leaders. I feel like Trump's pretty much doing the dictatorial thing. Extreme nationalism, we have that on the MAGA. That's extreme nationalism to a cult of personality. That's Donald Trump to a T. The suppression of opposition through violence and propaganda. So
he's trying to achieve that. Yeah, we're getting close. Hey, real quick, I just got a kick out of this. I saw somebody online called him was what they call them, Cankles McTaco Tits is the
Oh
nickname
yeah.
for. I don't know why that made me giggle out loud. Sorry,
That was
continue.
good. That was really good.
Yeah.
Desire for national rebirth or purification. Make America great again. That's 100% rebirth. Um, and often with a fixation on national decline and scapegoating of minority groups. So national decline, he has been saying this, that America was dying or dead,
Yeah.
and
And now
now
it's
we're the
hot.
hottest country. Yeah, now
now
it's
we're
hot. We're the hottest
other
country.
leaders of other countries are telling him daily about how hot we are now. They thought we were dead, but now we're hot.
Scapegoating of minority groups.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so nationalism. I this was a year or two ago, but I really got into reading about nationalism because, like, on the surface, nationalism, like, yeah, we want to have pride in our country, like we're American, like. You can, on the surface level, be like, yeah, nationalism is a good thing. But when you look, nationalism almost always leads to like fascism. Like it's kind of a pipeline straight to there. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, and we've been doing the Pledge of Allegiance since when we were kids, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
every morning in school, that is nationalism to a T. And that is that is a weird thing that we did.
I
Are we
think
still
they still the kids in school are still doing it. I have weird mixed
in
feelings
Oklahoma,
on
right?
that. Oh yeah, Oklahoma they do the Pledge of Allegiance and then they do like the Oklahoma Pledge. They pledge the Oklahoma flag. My daughter, we moved up here 4 years ago now, and at one point my daughter mentioned doing the Oklahoma Pledge, and I was like, wait, hold on, there's an
What?
Oklahoma Pledge, and then she like did it for me, and I was just like, oh wow, like I've never heard that in my life, but okay, cool. So yeah, they pledge to the flag of Oklahoma every morning. I'm conflicted on that because I did it growing up, and like I don't think kids should not like America. I think you should be proud to be an American for sure. But
Okay.
also through the lens I'm looking at it now, I'm kind of like that's kind of North Korea type. Like I don't know. Like
Yeah.
every day
Yeah.
we're gonna start the day by pledging allegiance to our country. I don't know. There's a part of me that I'm conflicted. Part of me doesn't like it. A part of me doesn't have a problem with it.
And this brings me to a point is like also like our country has invaded multiple countries over the years,
Dude.
for reasons unknown. We are the only country who has dropped 2 nuclear bombs.
Only country to ever drop a or to hit any other country with a nuclear bomb, but go ahead.
Yeah, and we did it twice. We are aiding in a genocide right now. I mean, are we the bad guys?
Man,
Are we terrorists? Is the United States a terrorist organization?
the United States has done a lot of really messed up stuff over our history. I don't think overall we're the bad
and it's
guys.
not over our history. It's continuing to do really terrible
Okay,
things
if you
across the world.
if you took Israel off the table, is there any other one you could point out right now?
Well, right now we're kind of siding with Putin over.
We're not we're staying neutral on that to a degree, which I don't like that at all. You know, I'd
Which
rather.
means we were reneging on a deal that we had with Ukraine, right?
Yep. In 1994, the Budapest
that's like
Memorandum.
we have no
Yeah.
trust, right? Yeah.
So,
I,
can I comment on this real quick?
yeah.
I've gotten in recently. I really want to take a trip up north to go to South Dakota and Wyoming, I believe it is. I've been doing a lot of reading and watching a lot of stuff on the Lakota, Nakota, and Dakota Indians. It was 3 tribes across the South Dakota area.
Okay.
And that's where the Dakota Indians first started giving the U.S. Army trouble back in the day. And then George Custer came in, and that's Custer's Last Stand and Little Bighorn and all that. It's fascinating.
Okay.
If you read about that or watch some documentaries on it, like the parallels to what's happening with Palestine and Israel right now, like I watched it and at one point it like clicked with me and it was like, oh, the Native Americans are the Palestinians and the US Army, the US is Israel in this scenario. And like what we did to the Indians back then is no different than and I might have been under the influence when I had this revelation, but it was really weird because I about 15 minutes in, this clicked for me, and then I watched the whole thing with that mentality, and I was just like, oh shit, like yeah, like we kind of.
I mean, what we did to the Native Americans is horrendous.
Yeah, that's just one story of what we did to them. We did stuff to them all over the country, but just
the
look
Trail
up
of
there.
Tears is insane. I mean, were we the last country? Well, there's open slave markets now across the world, but like, really the last
I think we were the last like civilized country to do it.
to get rid of slavery, and
I
then
think so.
we still segregated them for.
Till like 60 years ago, 70 years ago.
I mean, the more I go down this rabbit hole, the more I think America is like
So
just
I don't want to.
the bad guys across the world. Like we're just kind of, and we're just destroy. I mean, there's so much. There's just so much.
So I love America, and I think you should love America too. But we need to do better. We need to, and I feel like it's a progression. We're doing better. We ended slavery 70 years ago. We ended segregation. We're giving certain people, certain groups their rights that didn't have their rights before. So we're constantly progressing and doing a little better. We just need to keep our eyes forward on continuing to do better, is my thought.
We're trading hundreds of thousands of Palestinian lives for a few $1 million in our politics.
What we're
in
doing
the
with
House and the
Israel
Senate.
and Gaza, I feel is terrible. That's clearly not good. But in general, like there's no other, like every country that you look at, except for maybe like Sweden. Sweden stays out of everything, so maybe they're fine. I don't know. But like most countries, like if you look at, and it's the only thing that Trump ever said. I hated him saying it, but he was right. This is during his first term? I think like 2017, the first year of his first term, and he was getting interviewed by Bill O'Reilly on Fox, and Bill O'Reilly said, "Well, Putin is a murderous dictator, like blah blah blah." And Trump said, "Oh, you think we're any better? Like you think America?" And he was right, like he was.
Yeah.
I hated hearing our president say that, but like there's some truth to it. Like,
Yeah.
but overall, we've been getting better, and we just need it. And that's the whole like make America great again. Like no, like let's keep focusing on making it greater than we've ever been in the past. Like let's keep trying to do better. I don't think
Okay.
nobody on the
Okay.
right has that
So
mentality.
watch this video and tell me if we're getting better.
Authorities in Washington state have been fighting the state's largest wildfire nonstop for almost 2 months. It's called the Bear Gulch Fire. It's burned 9,000 acres since early July. Officials say it's only 13% contained. It is so big, they've had to rely on contract firefighters. But a group of those firefighters who were battling the blaze had to take a 3-hour timeout from their work on Wednesday. You see, their camp was raided by Border Patrol officials, and they were lined up and told to show their IDs.
Nice.
Got hit, guys.
That's all right. Tribal member. Yeah, we got pulled over by ICE. Crazy, dude. We got members from the tribe of Umatilla, Cayuse, and Walla Walla. This is crazy, man. Look at that. Post it up. We have a different crew over here. And I guess.
Yeah. So, and I can't remember which one that was, but there was a situation that was probably it where they ended up getting two Mexicans.
Yeah.
But then, so the 2 Mexicans were not here legally. They've been apparently working in this fire department for years, and all their coworkers said they do a great job, blah, 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 but they got pulled out. But there was another one where two firemen that were Native American didn't have proper ID on them, and they got like taken off in a van and put in a detention camp. They ended up getting out about 48 hours later. But like, come on, they're actively fighting a fire. Like, can we go?
You're gonna pull 2 whole crews. Who knows how many crews they pulled off? But in this video, 2 whole crews off the fire line of a fire that's like what 13% contained. Like that doesn't make any sense.
Trump said.
This is like taking your free throw shooter out of the game, or
I don't even know how to. There's no good analogy for it. Trump said at one point that we were going to go after the bad hombres, and that ended up being hard. So now they're going after the lowest hanging fruit wherever they can. And I keep seeing. I saw a video. I think it was today or yesterday of a guy that went into court to like renew his. He's here on like a worker's visa. He was from somewhere in Latin America, and they granted it. He got all his paperwork. He followed exactly what he was supposed to do. He showed up to his hearing. He did his stuff. He got an extension. And the second he walked out of court, ICE grabbed him, and he was holding his kid, and they ripped his kid out of the guy's arms.
What?
And took him away, and like he just went through the steps, and nope, they're deporting him.
Why are they deporting him? He's legally here, right?
He followed all the steps. He was legally here. He just got his like
Well,
workers
that seems
visa
illegal.
extended. Seems illegal. Who has the authority to challenge that and try to do something about it? Only the federal administration. And are they going to do it? No.
I was thinking about this, and like we have the internet, and we're watching all this unfold, and it's warning us, right, that shit's going bad.
Yeah.
Like we're being warned, but like, what do we do? Like Gaza has the internet too, right? The Palestinians have the internet too, like, and they knew shit was going to happen. They know stuff's happening. There's nothing that they can do because they're kind of trapped where they're at.
So this is a terrible answer. I want to say that up front, and I should get made fun of for what I'm about to say. So feel free to. Okay. I was thinking about this the other day. People always do the whole like, well, what would you have done if you were in 1930s Germany? Like, would you have spoken up or would you have stayed silent? And blah blah blah. And
yeah,
I'd like to think that I would have said something. Like I'm kind of at that point in my life right now where it's like I don't have the power to fix it, but I'm not going to stay silent. Like if roughly 25 people are watching this per episode, cool. I'm going to talk to those 25 people, and I'm going to continue to say that this is bullshit and try to kind of rally the troops or sound the alarm, whatever it might be. Yeah. But like the moment that me and you start to feel like, man, things are getting really bad, we should stop doing this because they could target us. Like that's bullshit at that point. So that's my weird mentality is right. That's the only thing I have the power to do is to just keep talking about it to as many people as I can. This is my outlet for that. So
sure.
Yeah. Not a great answer, but that's what I can do. I'm not gonna. I think a lot of Republicans, and I'm thinking of certain friends of mine right now that are looking around and realizing that it's fucked up what's going on, but they also like don't want to say anything, so they're just sticking their head in the sand, and it's bothering the hell out of me.
Yeah, that's not cool.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm sorry.
Let's
Thank you.
Man.
Ellen,
oh my gosh.
You said something about just corruption a second ago. I got to point this out too, and I have nothing pulled on this, but for the second time this month, the Federal Justice Department, Pam Bondi's agency, has dropped charges against someone who her brother represents. Her brother's a lawyer named like Brad Bondi, and twice this month they've just dropped the charges to the guy he's representing and said, "Up, we're good." Like that's like little stuff you see like that where it's like, well, holy shit, that's corrupt as hell. But also, like, who has the authority to do anything about that? The Justice Department, and she runs the Justice Department. So Congress, I guess, is the oversight. But is Congress going to do anything about that? No. And like we've hit a point where every day there's a story where if it happened under any other president, it would be almost impeachment level. Like, what's going on here? And because it's Trump, we're just like, oh, yep, Bondi's doing favors for her brother who's a lawyer, whatever. And like, we just are blowing right by all these things that are not cool, man. Like, not cool at all.
September 4th, 10 p.m., 10 a.m.
September, did she say the 3rd? I think she said the 3rd.
3rd, 10th of the 3rd.
It better not be on the 4th because the 4th is the opening day of NFL football, Cowboys and Eagles on Thursday Night Football. And if Trump dies that day, that will kill the opening day of football. So if he dies the day before, we'll have a day to grieve and then get on with football.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So can't have that. Hey, speaking of other stuff that who has the authority to do anything about this? Remember Big Balls, the DOGE kid?
Yeah.
Have you seen all the stuff with our Social Security numbers this week?
Social Security numbers.
Jeez. So, and remember at the time there were all these stories about DOGE staffers plugging in like hard drives and downloading all of our data into hard drives.
Yeah,
remember all that?
Yeah.
So it turns out Big Balls uploaded all the information Social Security has on us, our Social Security number, address, everything you would need to steal our identity. They uploaded that into a unsecured cloud server.
Oh my God.
So now they said we don't have any proof that anybody broke in and took that data, but also the way that normally goes, there'd be no signs of it if somebody had. So they uploaded all of our info. And why would you do that? Here's the thing. Why would you upload all our stuff into a cloud server? Only if somebody is going to then download it. That's how I send you videos, is through the cloud and whatnot.
Sure.
So Palantir, Peter Thiel's company, they were trying to build this. So we have no proof of this yet, but it appears that Big Balls and DOGE uploaded all our stuff into a server so then Palantir could get it. And we haven't talked at all about Palantir. That's going on in the background of all this. You know, the whole like contract they were gonna get. They
Oh
already
my
got
gosh.
it. They already got it. That happened. That happened months ago, and they've
Oh.
been operating, and it's just not getting any headlines whatsoever.
So
Like
they're just collecting data on everybody,
they're
all the
building
data, and
building
now
a
they
database.
have our social security numbers and everything.
So apparently, this breach is so, or this potential breach is so bad that I think they're not talking about it anymore. But for a week or two, they were talking about possibly having to reissue social security numbers to every American. Okay. You know your social?
Yeah.
I know my social. And if suddenly tomorrow I had to learn a new social, that'd be tough. That's like 9 digits roughly. I don't know, something like that.
You
Anyhow,
figure
so that they were contemplating just giving everybody new socials just to get ahead of this, but they didn't, and I don't know what's going to happen from there. The whistleblower that a whistleblower brought this to the Congress's attention. He announced today. This is just 3 days ago. He brought this up, and he announced today that he's submitting his involuntary resignation due to actions the agency has taken against him. So there is a whistleblower statute that you're supposed to be able to go to Congress and tell them without getting repercussions from your agency, and nobody's going to protect him. So he's quitting today because apparently they're targeting him now.
Okay, so here again, are we the bad guys? Like we're not even taking care of our own people at this
Our
point.
government. I think the
Our
American people
government
are.
is
I think
screwing
the American people are good. The American government. I got a lot of things I could say about the
Yeah,
American government.
that's what I'm saying. The American government, and what do they run? They run the military. They run.
Yeah.
Did you see they took away Kamala Harris's detail?
I'm
Her
torn on
security
that
detail?
one. At first I was like, what the heck is he doing? But vice presidents and presidential candidates only get it for like 6 months after the election's over. And Biden at the very last minute signed a deal to give her an extra year of security, which most VPs don't and most candidates don't. So Trump just said, get rid of that. She loses it at the same time she should have. So I'm torn. I'm not. It's not as.
But everybody's getting since it's been like since I think Obama. Everybody's been getting extra security detail for extra long because of how tumultuous the times are.
So I haven't seen that.
How many threats are going on? That's what I heard on NPR today.
If that's true, and then it's been kind of standard for the last 10 years that people get more than. If that's true, then I'm on your side. But I didn't see that. I just saw that here's the link she's supposed to get it, and Trump is basically doing away with Biden's extension and putting it now. If he was like canceling it earlier than then we'd have a problem. But it all hinges on what you just said. If it turns out that it's been standard for the last 10 years, everybody gets additional time, then I'm mad.
That's what NPR reported today. Was they've been extending everybody's because of how angry people are. I don't know.
I will look into that. If that's true, then I'm on your side. Did you see? This is the other depressing thing I have for tonight. Did you see what's going on at the CDC this week?
No, I don't think so.
Are you kidding? Okay, first of all, before we even get into this, I'm starting to think. I thought for a while that Tulsi and RFK could possibly be like the most damaging cabinet leaders we have. Like, who could really do the most harm to America? And that was kind of a toss-up between them. I think it's going to end up being RFK. Like, I hate to say it, but I'm pretty sure that what he's doing with the CDC is not something we can just bounce back from. Like,
well, you've been sending me this. I think you have a crush on this blonde girl who's talking about.
So that's the girl that I'm sending an email to try to get on the show. Her name's Dr. Jessica Knurek or something. I very much like her videos. She finds a Maha person video and plays the first little bit of it, and then she responds and says, here's why that's not correct. And she seems very factual, and she pulls out the receipts, and I very much like how she explains stuff. To me, she's like the Neil deGrasse Tyson of decoding Maha, because she explains it in a way a dummy like me can understand it. And with everything I'm about to say about the CDC right now, like, I wish we had an expert on to talk to me about this, because I'm not the guy that should be talking about what's happening at the CDC and, oh my God, this is going to cause problems. I don't know. I'm an idiot. Tonight, my daughter asked me, she's doing algebra now. This is ridiculous. She's in advanced math. And she walked in and said, Dad, blank to the third power or to the fifth power is 271. Can you help me figure this out? And my mind just froze. And I was like, to the fifth power? I don't remember how that works at all. And like, while I was frozen, my wife stepped in and was like, well, it's got to be either 3 or 4. And like, I had to listen to them to relearn how to do like to the fifth power, because
I don't
I'm an
remember
idiot.
Fifth Hour either. Yeah.
I don't think
Weird.
we ever covered that in our school. But anyhow, I'm a moron and I shouldn't be talking about this. But the new head of the CDC, I can't remember her name. She was a lady. Um, she just got confirmed a month ago. RFK and Trump picked her. Okay, she's their pick. She did say that she was going to look at the actual science behind vaccines and blah blah blah. So she's in office for 1 month. RFK calls her and says, "Hey, He's apparently about to announce that vaccines cause autism, from the way it looks. Like he's about to make several. He just made it to where if you're under the age of 65, you gotta basically have a doctor recommend the COVID shot for you.
Oh
We
my
used to
gosh.
we used to be able to go to. Go
Dude,
ahead.
Colorado has more people in the hospital during COVID right now than like since February or something. It's like 100 people in the hospital from COVID right now.
Oklahoma is the worst state right now as far as like per capita cases of COVID. It's flaring back up. But so like I
Okay.
used to be able to go to Walgreens and get a flu and COVID shot for free or almost nothing. It was very easy to do. No appointment needed.
Right.
You can't do that anymore. You got to go to your doctor. Your doctor's got to recommend it to you. Insurance might not cover it. Like they kind of defunded the vaccine. Like it's kind of weird. He's apparently also going to mess with the children vaccine schedule, like the MMR vaccine and all that. And he's got all this worked up. It's a big announcement coming in September. He's definitely going to put a link from vaccines to autism, and every doctor online is going to be saying that what he's saying is not true. I'm too dumb to look at the evidence. Like show me the studies and let me look at this for myself. We can't read that shit. So
Yeah, but you don't have to because you just listen to real doctors.
Well, how do you know those
instead of
doctors aren't
RFK.
lying?
Yeah.
And I mean, saying like I choose to believe that cute doctor on Instagram and Facebook that I follow. She's good looking and she tells it like
I think
it is.
most of the stuff you sent me, I like. There was something about seed oil and stuff, and I was just like, you might be wrong on that. Like, because everything I've heard about, like the flashpoint or the smoke point of seed oils is so low that you shouldn't be frying stuff in it, and because carcinogens, which firefighters deal with carcinogens all the time, is bad for you. And so when something turns into black and you're eating it, it's not that good for you.
She should be here to explain that. I
would love it.
And that's the thing is, like, I get so mad at Maha because I'm like, why do you believe him? There's doctors. And then they can turn it around on me and be like, well, why do you believe that lady on Facebook? And I'm like, well, she's a doctor. And it's like, well, and it comes down to like, I've chosen to believe certain people. I believe Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I believe that doctor on Facebook, and I don't believe RFK. And somebody else could say, okay, well,
the two that you just represent, or they're both scientists. One's a doctor, one's a scientist.
Yeah.
And RFK is a
lawyer.
I don't know.
He's a lawyer, an environmental lawyer.
He's doing push-ups and sit-ups.
Yeah. But that, like, let me finish that real quick. Like I said, for me to say, like, well, I choose to believe these lawyers, a person on the right could easily be like, okay, you choose to believe them and not RFK. I personally choose to believe RFK and not them. And it's like, neither of us in this equation are really smart enough to read the data and decide for ourselves. So you just decide who you're going to believe. And like, that bothers me. Like, I wish we could see the data and make sense of it.
But here's the thing. You believe two people who are actually getting their information from people who study this stuff, right?
Yes.
If they're not studying it themselves. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson talks to scientists. He's in the science community. The scientists figure out the answer to things. That's basically what science is. Like, they have a question, what's the answer? And they go through steps, and they do tests, and they do trials, and they do studies. And then once they come up with a solution or an answer to a question, then another scientist comes back and tries to disprove your answer. So there's a system behind it. RFK is going off his thought. I think he just thinks that autism is caused by a vaccine.
I agree with you, but to play devil's advocate here, like the left is going to say, well, RFK took certain studies and cherry picked just little parts of it to make his case. Yeah. And then the right can say, well, the left is doing the same thing. They're cherry picking because like, oh, they didn't mention because one thing I always hear is like, oh, they don't mention the studies that made their product a new medicine, whatever it is. Like there were 8 studies that showed it had harmful effects, but then there was one that showed it didn't have harmful effects, and that's the one they're choosing to show you. I hear that all the time. I don't know how true that is, but like it still comes down to like, well, I choose to believe this doctor. This person chooses to believe RFK. Like we're not smart enough to read the data. That's my problem with it. I wish I wish that I could say, you know what? Tomorrow, I'm going to dedicate all day and I'm going to get to the bottom of this. And I could find the studies and read it and decide for myself. But even if I could find the studies and all the raw data, I don't know how to take that and make it into a thought. I don't.
You could. I used to think that I would never understand a contract.
Totally different things, but okay.
I mean, it's just different. It's verbiage. Like this is lawyer verbiage and this is science verbiage. Like you can understand it. You just have to expand your vocabulary to learn the scientific verbiage.
But like there were times like during COVID, I can remember like when Joe Rogan was like, "Oh, since the vaccine came out, there's been a 50% rise in all-cause mortality," or something. I'm making that up, but it was something like that. And you hear it, and it's like, oh shit, like that's scary. And then you hear a doctor say, "Well, hold on," or this is a better one. I think I'm gonna get this close to being a real example. But they would say, since the vaccine came out, heart failure and heart disease is up. It's on the rise. It's up 17%, and that is true. But if you look back before COVID, it's been on the rise since 2005 or something, and the rate that it's increasing every year didn't get higher after the vaccine. It's always been 17% worse a year, whatever. It was something like that. So It's like what Rogan said it's not untrue. He just left out the fact that this is the current trajectory we've been on since well before. But I'm too dumb to like. I had to watch a doctor explain that to me because I didn't know to look for that. So anyhow. RFK brings in the head of the CDC, I guess, earlier this week. It seems like on Monday, brought her in and basically said, "Hey, here's all the stuff I'm going to roll out. I need you to sign off on this." And she said, "Okay, let me take this back to the heads of the departments of the CDC and we'll look it all over and we'll tell you if we agree or not." And he said, "No," he said, "that's not how this is going to work. You're just going to sign off on this right now." And she said, "No, I need to consult with the experts before I'm going to sign off on this and just see if there's any holes in your theory here." So he tells her no, she can't do that. She leaves and she goes and she calls Senator Bill Cassidy from Louisiana. Bill Cassidy ended up he's a former doctor. He believes in vaccines. He ended up being the big swing vote with RFK. Like if he would have said no, RFK doesn't get approved. RFK promised him that he wouldn't do anything to hurt the vaccine schedule or pull vaccines off the market and all that. And Senator Kennedy said, or what's his name? Cassidy, there we go. Said, "Hey, I've gotten all these commitments from RFK. I feel comfortable voting for him," and he voted to approve. He got approved. It was really close. Anyhow, so she goes back, and this guy also is in charge of the Senate committee. The initials for it are HELP, HELP, Health and something something. Anyhow, he's the head of that Senate committee, so his oversight is the CDC. So she calls him and says, "Hey, I know RFK promised you all this stuff. Like, this is what he's trying to get me to agree to." Cassidy calls RFK. I don't know. Nobody knows how that call went. But then Cassidy ended up calling her back the next day for another meeting and basically scolded her for getting Cassidy involved. Said he wanted to fire her. I guess he did fire her. I think there were questions as to whether he tried to fire her, but she has to be fired by the president. She was going to sue, and then Trump ended up firing her. So she's gone. She fought it for like a day. The new head of the CDC is, I can't remember what his position is right now, but he's RFK's right-hand man. He's like his top deputy, and his name is Jim O'Neill. RFK is not a doctor. We've already established that. Will Jim O'Neill be a doctor? Yes or no?
Hold on. I'm going to guess his position. I don't think he's a doctor, but I want to guess his position. I don't want to. I bet he's a hedge fund manager.
Oh, you're close. So Jim O'Neill, he was the speechwriter for HHS during W. Bush's presidency, and one of many.
Okay.
He was the team that would write up stuff. So he did that. After Bush left office, he went to work for Peter Thiel. Thiel, who owns Palantir.
Of course.
For a couple of years, he was the CEO of the Thiel Foundation, and he was the co-founder with Thiel of the Thiel Fellowship, which I think is some kind of like scholarship grants.
Dude, this whole administration seems to revolve around Peter Thiel and Palantir.
It's the tech bros. It's not just, it's him and Elon, and like it's that whole, and they're all
but there's I feel like Elon kind of jumped in and then he jumped out and he's kind of dipping his toe again. But Peter Thiel is like a mainstay. Like he's known JD Vance for a long time, right?
The problem is Peter Thiel, in my opinion, is smarter than Elon because Peter Thiel's like the way you do this is you pull the strings and you stay out of the limelight. You don't want the spotlight on you, and he's smart enough to stay. And he gives interviews every now and then. There was an interview a couple months ago where he talked about the Antichrist, and it was very scary.
Oh yeah.
But he generally stays out of the spotlight. But this guy, real quick, Jim O'Neill. He worked for Thiel. He had nothing to do with medicine. And then during COVID, he became really loud about ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. And he was really into all the conspiracy stuff. The government, this is created in the lab and all that stuff. Anyhow, so that's how he came into RFK's orbit. Now he is the head of the CDC, which I think he's just the acting head of the CDC because they have since they fired that girl, they have a certain amount of time, couple months or whatever, to pick somebody new and get them Senate confirmed.
Okay.
Don't know who that's going to be. But the top two people in charge of our health in America right now are RFK and Jim O'Neill, a lawyer and a speechwriter / worked for Peter Thiel. That's who's running shit right now. The three deputies under the girl that quit, I wish I could remember her name, but she quit, and then her top three deputies, the top three smartest minds working at CDC quit with her. They went on CNN the day after they quit with Caitlin Collins and did an interview. The whole thing was fascinating. It's 10 to 15 minutes, and I recommend you watch it. But I pulled a minute clip real quick here, just kind of tells the story. So this is from CNN.
An important thing to ask the secretary is, has he been ever briefed by a CDC expert on anything, specifically measles, COVID-19, flu? I think that people should ask him that in that hearing.
What would the answer
that's
to
number
that
one.
be?
So the answer is no. So no one from my center has ever briefed him on any of those topics.
Really?
So I don't know where he's getting his, really.
No one has ever briefed him
back to
on any of those issues that you just mentioned there, including measles, given the outbreak in the United States right now?
He's getting information from somewhere. Yeah, he's getting information from somewhere, but that information is not coming from CDC experts, who really are the world's experts in this area. Folks from around the world call us with questions around these infections. And we are seen as the expert. CDC is seen as the expert in these areas. CDC is the preeminent public health organization, I'm going to say, in the world. And he's not taking us up on several offers to brief him on these very important topics.
Why do you think
Now,
that is?
On the issue, I don't know the answer. Perhaps he has alternate experts that he may trust more than the experts at CDC that the rest of the world regards as the best scientists in the areas.
That is terrifying.
It's a little scary, isn't it?
That is freaking terrifying, dude.
So he hasn't even had a meeting with anybody from CDC in these 7 months. We have a measles outbreak going on. He's looking at changing the vaccine schedules for everybody. You'd think
he's in charge of the smartest people when it comes to vaccines and outbreaks. Let's just go with the measles. He is the smartest people at his disposal, and he's not asking them. He's going on YouTube to get information about the measles. What is he doing?
He's not going on YouTube. He's got people that he's announced that are his advisors, and they're all the people from YouTube that have been doing COVID conspiracy theories for the last 5 years.
So he went to YouTube. What's this measles outbreak? How many measles outbreak? What's the?
I don't know. I don't know what the number's at right now. What's funny is there's only one state in the entire nation that's not tracking it at all. So they know the total number of cases, but they don't know where they are. Guess what state that is?
Texas.
No, they're also 50th in the nation in education.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we have no clue where our cases are coming from. Every other state's at least trying to track it and do
is your daughter vaccinated?
Yeah, I believe so. So
okay.
MMR, yeah, she's had all her shots. So
okay.
Anyhow,
jeez.
So that's what's going on at CDC. I'm right, and maybe it's just 'cause I've been seeing it all week, but right now I'm of the mindset that that's the scariest thing happening for me right now. Just with all the different, the next big disease or virus is only a year or two away, probably. We're gonna have some outbreak of something, and
well, measles. Hold on. So isn't measles? It is one of those ones where you have to have a collective of a certain percentage vaccinated for it to actually work.
That's called herd immunity.
Herd immunity,
And
yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
and I don't know if it's a set number. It's like 93% or something like that. But like if you fall below that, if like less than 90% of the people, like you could have an outbreak. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyhow, I don't know.
Good.
Like I said, I'm worried about that. Like what Tulsi's doing is also, I don't know if you saw, and I have nothing pulled on this, but Tulsi outed an undercover agent in the CIA that was like spying on Russia basically, and she announced that she was pulling this person's security clearance, and this person was actively like undercover spying on Russia, and she tweeted it. She tweeted the person's name, and apparently like she never checked with the CIA to see where this person was or what they were doing, and she just tweeted their name out and said that she was stripping her security clearance. And I don't know, we don't know we don't know if she was on Russian soil, or we don't know where this person was, but all we know is she was actively like undercover spying on Russia for us, and Tulsi just tweeted her name out.
It's like a death sentence, right?
Yeah. I mean, you got to hope she got the heck as soon as she saw that. You got to hope she hit a safe house, but
She's
the only thing that's
so hopefully she.
The only thing that possibly could step in and save us is if, like, the Senate committees start doing oversight. Like, there is oversight on what is she, the Director of National Intelligence, DNI? Like, there's oversight for that. Bill Cassidy, the senator I was telling you about from Louisiana, that's in charge of the Senate, the oversight of the CDC. He did say he put out a letter. It wasn't really scathing, but he did say that this situation demands oversight, and he's calling on RFK to testify. I believe it's on September 4th. In front of his committee. So he's kind of acting like, hey, we're not going to let this go on. You know, we have oversight here. But that's one of those battles that's never really been tested. Like if RFK tells them to screw off, like I'm not listening to you, to the Senate, like what happens from there? I don't know. Like what could happen is they could say, okay, we're going to withhold all your funding. That's the power they have. But RFK would love it if they defunded CDC.
Yeah.
Do it. Like that, you're making his day.
Yeah. Didn't we get caught spying on Greenland too recently?
Yeah, I saw that. The Danish government requested our like local embassy, whatever ambassador, come to them for a meeting because they found there's apparently 3 people that they said are connected to Trump that are running around Greenland trying to like stir up people for like, hey, you don't want to be a part of Denmark anymore. You want to be part of America.
Whoa.
So that's like covert influence campaigns.
Yeah.
We're totally doing it. And it's probably not even being run through our State Department. It's 3 people that Don Jr. has over there doing something like.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that happened.
Anyhow. What a nightmare.
I've only got one thing left, and it's equally depressing as the last 2. So if you have anything good that you want to get in now, go for it. If not, I'll jump into this last bit.
I want to squeeze one thing in actually, and then I got a couple enders. So I want you to pull up video deals, and so we haven't talked about this in a while. Like we haven't figured out, like we haven't talked about how many deals Trump did. Remember, it was 90 deals in 90 days.
And even the deals, so like 5 is the deals he's supposed to, like, he got like 5 deals. But
there's nothing signed or anything yet.
Nothing signed yet. But even like the UK was supposedly going to give us like $600 billion. Just give us cash. And
have we doubled the 90 days? Is it 180 days already, or is it?
I don't know where we're at. We're like 120 days probably. So 90 days was supposed to end August 1st. Or sorry, it was actually in July. Like July 9th was the 90 days. But then he extended that to August 1st. So July 9th, August 9th. September 9th will be 5 months.
Okay. Well, yeah, watch this video and it's, I don't know if we're ever going to get a deal.
Working on the documents. When do you think the market can get its hands on written documentation on the deals with Japan, UK, Vietnam, Korea? Is that, how long ago, how far away?
Will we ever have proof these deals exist?
Is that?
Well, these are kind of weeks away for the Japan and Korea model, but the other models are set. I mean, you already have Vietnam has agreed to open its market. These countries have agreed to open their market. They bring down their tariffs. It's not that you're not going to find a big, long, 250-page trading agreement. It's very simple. bring down your tariffs to zero, open the market to American exporters so that we can finally sell our agriculture overseas, finally sell our seafood overseas, finally sell our beef overseas. I mean, our producers have Stockholm Syndrome.
My favorite part of that is you're not going to find like a 250-page long trade agreement, because that's exactly what you would want to see in this situation. But like, and that's the thing is, like, the UK said they were going to give us 600 billion. Turns out that's nowhere in the agreement. Like what we've seen written, that's nowhere. It was either
just give us 600 billion.
Just give it to us to invest however we want. It was same thing with Japan. It was like 500 billion Japan was going to give us, and they came out like a day or two later and they're like, "Hey, we did that was not agreed upon at all. Like we never said." So he's just throwing in little icing on the cake type stuff that like the other country is like, we didn't say that, and it's not going. Trump's the king of this. During his first term, he kept touting like, we've got all these investments. We've had $5 trillion invested in America, and none of it ever came to fruition. Like none of it. And now if you hear him talk right now, he's going to say, oh, we've got 10 trillion that have been promised to be invested. President just wants to say it, and he wants the person given the money to go, yep, I'm going to do it. And then it's never going to actually happen. And I'll be shocked if it actually does. The only one that came close to happening was called Foxconn, and it was in Wisconsin. And they actually like did a groundbreaking ceremony and stuff, and then for whatever reason, it just never happened. Like the warehouse, the manufacturing plant was never built, the jobs never came. The state of Wisconsin ended up losing like a couple $100 million that they put into that investment, and then nothing. So it just, yeah,
because Trump didn't have him sign a contract.
I guess not. I mean. It's all handshake deals. It's like the way Trump does it. He said he's going to invest it, so let's celebrate. And it's like, no, get that in writing, dude.
Yeah, and
like,
everybody just wants to kiss Trump's butt. I mean, oh my gosh, speaking of kissing butt, did you watch the press conference? Was it a press conference?
It was a cabinet meeting, and
oh my gosh,
I couldn't decide what to pull from that video wise, because he did the thing where they went around the table and everybody did their dear leader, you're so great. Thank you for everything you're doing to save our country. And it's embarrassing. Like and I decided not to pull any of it. The worst one was Witkoff, the guy that is the special envoy to Israel and Russia. And he was like, sir, like, it's just a shame that the Nobel Committee hasn't nominated you yet, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Once they get their act together, they need to get their act together and nominate you for a Nobel Peace Prize.
A guy on Fox News the other day, when they were talking about this, actually said, and you know what? Melania should be discussed too, because she did. And I was like, I'm not trying to be rude here, but what's Melania? Like, I don't know. I've barely seen Melania.
Be best. What is that? What is be best?
She hasn't even said that this time. That was the first term. But like, there are always, the first ladies always have a project. Laura Bush, president or wife of W, she did the whole literacy thing. She was trying to get kids to read better. Michelle Obama focused on health, kids eating healthier meals. I don't know.
I remember she was. They were like, "That's communism."
She wanted to make school lunches healthier, and the right lost their damn mind. And I keep seeing. So I think Stephen Miller just said it the other day, but it was like, this is the first time in our country the government's ever tried to make kids' lunches healthier, and it's like, my head's about to explode. I'm like, in 2015, or it was like 2012, Michelle Obama tried to do that, and you guys ran her off for it. Like, what? Anyhow, yeah, the trade deals, I'm sorry, but they haven't really come in. And now, also, if you haven't signed a deal yet, you're not signing one between now and August 14th is when the court that ruled on the trade deals today, it has like till August 14th for the Supreme Court to weigh in. So why would you sign you just got to wait him out 3 more months, and there's a solid chance that he's going to not be able to do the tariffs at that point. So even if you've talked about a deal, don't sign it if you're them, because you got to wait him out. Anyhow. The last thing I got on my list tonight, we haven't talked to Israel in a while. We throw in a little Israel genocide stuff here and there, but some big stuff is happening right now in Gaza. Have you seen what's going on in the last day?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so Israel began their assault on Gaza City. I think earlier today is when they began the full-on assault.
Okay.
Shock. It was an ambush. Hamas has had time. They know it's coming. They've been staging troops on the border, getting ready to go into Gaza City, and it turned out to be a bit of an ambush. And I don't know how much of this is confirmed. I don't know what to believe online, but it appears that several Israeli troops, IDF soldiers, have been taken captive by Hamas. So now Hamas just got new hostages, supposedly. But by the time we release this tomorrow, maybe that's not accurate. I don't know. That's what I'm seeing tonight online. By the way,
Okay.
I've sent you some stuff on it, but Ryan Grimm, he's on Breaking Points, but he also runs Drop Site News. If you're at all interested in what's going on in Gaza, follow Drop Site News or Ryan Grimm. That's really good information.
Yeah, you've turned me on to him, and I've been reposting some of his stuff on X through our account. So
he's on it right now. They have several reporters in Gaza.
Does this help or hurt them?
Oh, it's not good. It's going to elongate the war. I mean,
it's
not good for anybody.
But Israel's already like gung ho on just taking over and killing everybody, pretty much, right?
They're gonna eliminate all the Palestinians in Gaza. Like that's I think they're saying that.
And the
openly.
West Bank, yeah.
Which the West Bank is the one that hurts the most because like the West Bank is not ruled by Hamas. They're ruled by, I think it's called the Palestinian Authority, something like that. Not Hamas at all. They have nothing to do with what's going on right now in Gaza. Yet at the same time, we're all looking at Gaza, and Israel is straight up taking over the West Bank right now, and like nobody's paying attention to it. It's just pretty bad.
That's the beachfront property.
So there is a UN General Assembly meeting here in September. I'm not sure what date, but it's in America. It's in New York in the UN building. And part of the charter that we have with the UN is since we have it here, whenever there's a General Assembly meeting, we have to give visas to all the countries that are in the UN. Because there have been times in the past where we're mad at Russia or whatever, but we have to let them come in, send their representatives. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced that we're not going to give visas to any of the Palestinian leaders to come to this meeting. So they're just not going to get in, which apparently is a violation of the charter. Now, this is important because at this meeting, so far, the countries that are signed up for this, Australia, Canada, France, Luxembourg, Malta, and the UK plan on pursuing genocide charges against Israel and supporting a Palestinian state. There's going to be a resolution, and those are the countries that we know have signed on to this resolution. Apparently, there's going to be more coming.
Okay.
This is bad for Trump. This is bad for his administration. He does not want that. Israel, I'm sure. So I don't think it'll help stop that, but the only really thing they can do is they're threatening to not, or they're not going to let them in. So there will be no.
If Trump vetoes it,
we will veto it.
He looks like the bad guy. He's the bad guy.
We'll veto it, and we won't mind. We'll tell all those countries to pound sand. We don't care. So. Yeah. And on that note, I sent you this, but Lindsey Graham had a tweet, and this is just getting a little too far for me.
Well, Lindsey Graham's always too far.
He's a senator. Nightmare. So he doesn't have the power to do any of the stuff he's saying here. But he said, so Norway is one of the countries that's speaking up, and they said Norway announced that they're not going to do business with several American businesses because they're supporting the genocide in Gaza. So Lindsey Graham's tweet, to those who run Norway's sovereign wealth fund, if you cannot do business with Caterpillar because Israel uses their products, maybe it's time you're made aware that doing business or visiting America is a privilege, not a right. Maybe it's time to put tariffs on countries who refuse to do business with great American companies. Or maybe we shouldn't give visas to individuals who run organizations that attempt to punish American companies for geopolitical differences. I would urge you to reconsider your short-sighted decision. So he's threatening them with the full weight of our government doing basically sanctions on them because they're making
talks so tough, doesn't he? He talks like he's a badass, but he is not. You ever seen that? What's that show? I think it's called Suits.
Yeah, I've seen Suits. I've seen clips from Suits. I've never seen the whole thing.
I think it's Suits. I'm trying to remember which one it was. Or it's the one where there's a judge and he's kind of a badass in real life, but he needs his wife to tie him up and spank him.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Ball gag. Man, if anybody's listening to this and they know what I'm talking about, I can't remember the name of that show.
I don't think that Suits. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no clue what that is.
Anyway, this is what I see Lindsey Graham. He's getting tied up and spanked.
I don't know. Well, the thing is, he doesn't have the power to do any of that, but he could probably convince Trump to I wouldn't be shocked if in the next day or two Trump does a tweet backing him up on that. I just feel it coming. But we talked about all the journalists that have been killed over there. Reuters announced today. I didn't know this. So Reuters has apparently been giving the IDF the coordinates of all of their journalists inside of Gaza so that they don't get harmed. And they basically announced today that it's no longer going to share the coordinates of its Gaza teams with Israel after so many journalists have been killed. They even notified the IDF the day before that hospital got blown up that we showed the other day. They notified the IDF that their journalists were in that hospital using it as a headquarters. And then next day, Israel blew up that hospital and killed like 7 or 8 journalists. So Reuters just said, hey, we were trying to do this for the safety of our journalists, tell the IDF where our journalists were, but now it seems like they're targeting our journalists.
They're very much targeting journalists.
They figure it's safer to just have them in there and roll the dice and just hope they don't get hit with something. So that's where we're at.
Wow.
Also, new polling for the first time ever, over 50% of Americans, I think it's 51%, now say that it is a genocide. Funny, because only 6% of Congress is willing to say that it's a genocide, but 51% of America does. Can you guess the reason why only 6%?
Oh, maybe it's because of fucking money.
AIPAC. So I saw this tweet, I think it was this morning, I think Friday morning, and AIPAC is going after MTG hard. They had a tweet, I should have pulled it, but they basically said like, Marjorie Taylor Greene has joined the squad. For anybody that doesn't know, the squad is it's like a group of 4 or 5 Democratic women lawmakers, and they're all brown. I hate to be, that's the best way. They're either Middle Eastern, one of them is Palestinian, but the right loves to hate on the squad. So AIPAC, their tweet today was Marjorie Taylor Greene has officially joined the squad, and then they went on to bash her. And she shot back at him and was like, "Hey, you need to register as a foreign agent, blah blah blah." And the little Twitter battle going on. Matt Gaetz jumped in on her side.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this many times, but the thing I hate most about this current political Trump administration we're in is I find myself every now and then being like, "Yeah, go MTG, go Matt Gaetz." Like, oh, where am I at that I'm doing that? I was cheering for Laura Loomer at one point in the last couple of months. I don't understand how this is happening. But
the good thing is they're so out there and so crazy that they're kind of eating each other apart. They're kind of tearing each other apart.
Yeah, we should just enjoy it. Enjoy the fighting. Anyhow, Marjorie, here's the thing. Even people I dislike are right from time to time, and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz are dead on right on this. Yeah. And I wish that more Democratic lawmakers had a backbone to do this, because
every Democratic lawmaker should be on this side.
Well,
I'm not voting for you if you're not.
So what irritates me a lot is that I keep seeing the left be like, oh, the Republicans are just in bed with Israel. And it's like, man, it's the left too. Like, it's Congress. It's
100%.
I mean, there's slightly more on the left that are waking up, but for the most part, it's just our government, our elected officials. There's he's a gay black congressman from New York named Richie Torres. And he went on a podcast. It's a guy I've never seen before, but his name's like Adam Friedman or something. And apparently he's one of those up and coming on the left podcasters. And this kid, Adam Friedman, I think is his name, he's Jewish, and he was just ripping into Richie Torres about his support for Israel and flat like calling him out. He was like, it's because AIPAC's giving you money. And like, It was a fascinating thing to watch. Like, it really... You could tell Richie Torres did not. 5 minutes in, Richie Torres was like, "Why did I agree to this?" And he sat there and he tried to answer every question, but I'll give credit to that podcaster. I'm not real familiar with him, but he went in hard at him.
Dude, when the midterms come around, that's going to be we're going to have a list, and we're going to start talking about people who are getting money from AIPAC. And I'm not voting for anybody that's getting money from AIPAC.
You know what sucks? And I feel you, and I understand what you're saying, but like, that's a scenario where like there's only a handful of ways Trump can win in the midterms and keep the House and keep the Senate. And like, one of those ways is the Democrats have, and like I said, I think you're right to say that. I want to make that clear. But like, the left does this purity test bullshit where they're like, oh, well, he agrees with me on blah, 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 but he's not willing to say it's a genocide. So I'm just going to stay home and not vote. And like, I can totally see a scenario where Trump wins the House and the Senate and keeps full power because the left said, oh, even though I agree with 90% of you, I didn't agree with this one thing. So I'm not voting this. I'm sitting this one out. And that's going to suck.
Okay.
So,
I can see that.
Just saying. And really,
well, maybe just in the primaries, I vote against the people for AIPAC.
Oh, yeah, in the primaries, make your voice heard. And then when it comes down to the general election or the midterms, like, got to vote for the lesser of two evils. I hate to say that, but that's where you're at.
And I think what, like, the best thing for somebody like me to do is to actually go to these town halls or wherever they're going to speak and actually asking them about that and
Yeah,
seeing where they stand and make my voice heard that way.
I would agree with that. And that's like we all need to get way more involved in the primaries. Like I know this is basic stuff, but every time an election comes around, we're like, oh, our choices suck. And it's like, yeah, there was primaries. You had the opportunity to get better choices. Most people don't show up and vote in primaries. And the people that do show up are the far right and the far left, and that's why we get these candidates. Like I wish voting was easier and I wish our voting participation in America was much higher, especially for primaries.
Well, it also starts with like school board, voting for like, your school board members and your what is it like just your lower level politicians. Like when you start voting for them, that brings they come up and they have a grassroots movement, right? As opposed to I don't know. I mean, I don't assume Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, instead of like starting out as a school board member, he started out as a senator, a lawyer, and then a senator, right?
Yeah, he he
Yeah.
he argued in front of the Supreme Court. One of the things that people keep saying is at some point, if there's a Supreme Court vacancy, like he is on the short list of people Trump would appoint to the Supreme Court, and we could have a Supreme Court Justice Ted Cruz to deal with. I'm just throwing that out there.
Oh my gosh, that all right. So I found this cool quote that I wanted to share. I prefer someone who burns the flag and then wraps themselves up in the Constitution over someone who burns the Constitution and then wraps themselves up in the flag by Molly Evans.
I like that quote a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great quote, right?
Oh, and anytime I see this shit online, even though I love that, is that IVINS?
Where? Oh yeah, IVINS, yeah.
I've just started because we're all so easy to believe things. She's got a lot of quotes. Okay, so she might have said that. I don't know. Whenever I see anything like that now, I immediately go to Google and I'm like, is that really a real quote or did somebody make that up? But it seems like that might have been her.
Yeah, she worked for the New York Times. This
Yeah.
was a 1978 quote. So
Okay, that's
yeah.
spot on.
Yep. And we were talking about the American flag last time. And the last thing that I have, do you have anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
I feel like we need to end on this. I've already shared this with you, but I sent you a video.
He's a dictator. He's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense and I'm a smart person.
I love that. That did bring joy to my day. I'm very happy for that. That was almost better than Travis and Taylor getting engaged. Like it's right up there with it. That's where I'm at.
We started on a good note.
Yeah.
We ended on a good note.
Which that was the one clip I should have pulled from his cabinet meeting. Is he said, "Well, I'm the president, so I can do anything I want," or he said something like that in his cabinet meeting, and it's like, no, you can't. Like that's separation of powers.
He's been saying
buddy.
that the whole time. He's been saying that since before he was president.
Carolyn Levitt even said recently, she was like, the president can't get his agenda done if Congress is constantly trying to get in his way. And it's like, no, that's exactly the way our government is set up. Is it's a checks and balances, three separate but equal branches.
Or we have a
dictator.
Yeah.
A dictator. I like that. Yeah. So.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, he said twice recently that people are telling him that they want a dictator. He said some version of that, and it's like, he telegraphs things and he floats trial balloons. It's like he's kind of giving that one a trial balloon. Like, yeah, dictator. I wonder how people would respond to that. And sadly, I think there's a larger than we want to understand portion of our society that is like, yeah, I'd like for Trump to be a dictator. Like there's more people out there that think that than me or you would like to believe. So,
you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
That's scary. So. All right. Hey, real quick, I'm going to throw this up here at the end just because I forgot to do it earlier. But if you would, I got a picture I sent to you from DC. If you would have showed this picture to me previous to the actual inauguration, I would have said, you got Trump derangements. And it's not going to come to that. But like this one image, for whatever reason, for me was so powerful. Like we got troops on the streets. When you look at like,
that's the CDC, right? The building?
I believe it is.
Okay.
Actually, I think that's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Actually,
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
But like, I don't know why, but like as soon as you start hanging his banners all over town. Like that feels very North Korea, Russia. I don't know what to call it.
Oh yeah, North Korea for sure.
Yeah, like I don't have the energy anymore to be outraged about all this stuff. Like I saw this and I had like strong feelings about what I'm seeing in this picture, and I also just didn't have the time or energy to put into it. So
Yeah, I mean,
we're there.
If the Democrats don't win the midterms, um, because and they have the numbers. If they have the numbers and they still don't win the midterms in like a big way, we are completely fucked.
And if it happens because like, oh, well, they wouldn't say the word genocide, so I'm not like, which is a very real possibility. Like that's what Kamala didn't win for a couple different reasons, but also like she wasn't strong enough on Free Palestine. So like there were groups in Michigan especially
True.
that they chose not to vote at all because of that. And it's like, hey, I know she wasn't where you wanted her to be on that, but like look at where she's at and look at what Trump's at. Like one of these two is better for your cause than the other. Neither of them are perfect. And those people stayed home. And oh well, she's not saying what I want her to say exactly. And that's where I'm so afraid we're going to be in that situation in the midterm.
Well, yeah, and the problem is like in 2020, we had a lot of Trump, and people were really sick of Trump, right? People were like, we're tired of Trump. They were like, oh, he's doing these press conferences every day. He makes us look like an idiot, and people were realizing that, so people didn't go out to vote for him. And
Short
then 4
memories.
years later, Biden wasn't great, but 4 years later, they forgot what a nightmare Trump was.
And I think
so,
everybody quickly remembered this time. It's like, oh yeah,
oh
this
yeah,
kind of sucks.
yeah, but they're still not like people aren't admitting it. Nobody wants to admit they're wrong.
It's going to be about energy, and right now the left has more energy than the right. But if we choose to get hung up on a single issue and say I'm not voting for any candidate, that blah 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 blah, like that'll be our downfall, and that'll be the downfall of a nation. So cool. So anyhow, let's get out of here and go to bed, man. I hope you have a good weekend, and I'll be talking to you early next week. All righty.
Hasta luego.
Later.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.